Hello, good evening, Ghana. You are tuned into Time with Irbad Ibrahim. And today we have a very important guest in the studio to discuss an issue that is of utmost importance to the Republic of Ghana. This old man in physical features but young man at heart is no stranger to your screens. He's been doing this for the past 29 years or so. And today we are discussing morality in the modern Ghanaian society. You just cannot afford to miss this. Do stick and stay with us. We'll be back shortly to introduce our guest.
The master planner failed to see that the very shadow she hides is that which has never stopped reflecting.
I beg your pardon. Hey, you are now peppering me.
Please calm down.
This guy alone, because I am getting married and you know it.
That crystal of a girl is a witch.
I'm the tip of that thing.
I'm not the man, I'm a man woman. Hello, that girl thing is misleading. Just look at me up and down out of me. I drove her out.
This is when you find a situation and joyful situation as including moments of silence.
I don't even know what to tell you.
Hollywood movies. Showing Tuesdays and Fridays at 7 p.m. on DTV1.
Knocking on your door.
Our country, Ghana, and the continent of Africa are usually downgraded and categorized as underdeveloped. Policymakers have found themselves at a crossroads where an economic magic needed to turn a corner has proven to be a needle in a haystack. To this end, Time with Irbad Ibrahim will interrogate the issues, dig deeper, and create a national platform for our team of experts to proffer lasting solutions to these problems of underdevelopment.
Watch Time with Irbad Ibrahim every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. on DTV1.
Body eye, your back be the problem now.
You know we come from far, we don't watch nobody.
I be at the pump. Everything you want me, girl. If I buy one, you get one free.
La 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 do. I give you my heart and soul. Robos casca. If no be you, then tell me who.
Baby girl, I be selfish with you. Girl, I be selfish with you.
So girl, baby, take my number. Take my number.
Girl, Gaga, go go, Gaga, go go.
Low tempo. My baby keep it on.
Jolly, me sweetie, sissy mude, boko,
I go buy them for you. I go buy them for you. One virgin, one two virgin, one three virgin. Shayna, you be more for virgin.
Okay, you're welcome back. We have in the studio Sheikh Ishaq Niama. Sheikh, You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sheikh Isaac Nyama is an author. He's authored up to 28 books and he's launching 2 more tomorrow. And then he's a moralist, a former board member of the Narcotics Control Board. Sheikh, I just hope I'm not taking you away from your comfort zone. What is your classical definition of morality?
Morality, you know, is a park of moral values. So it could be a system of morality. It could be a phenomenon of morality. It could be interpreted as the drive of human relations. So every society that has morality, you know, and is well understood and well practiced, and the people imbibe and they become part of their lives, that morality drives human relations in society. Without it, society is dead.
So who sets the yardstick? Who in our traditional settings, there are sets of taboos, sets of do's and don'ts. So what is the benchmark for telling what is moral and what is immoral?
You know, let me tell you frankly that, you see, I'm happy you have brought in our cultural aspect of morality.
Yes, sir.
And then we are looking at who sets the standard for morality.
Yes, sir.
Every human being has a natural propensity for goodness. Every human being is not born to be evil. So inwardly, we are created to be good. We are created to be sound human beings. And that is the foundation for morality. Number 2, every society in its dealings with members of the society will have to put together a particular moral arrangement that will guide relations in society.
Yes,
so the traditional authority will help in transferring that moral character to its, you know, citizens in the locality. Families will be doing their bit, schools will be doing their bit, but ultimately you'll find the higher authority will set the standard for morality in every society. That's how it goes.
Have the rules changed from the medieval times through the Dark Ages, from the Dark Ages through the medieval times, in terms of the standards and who sets them?
You know, I have already indicated that it is the authority in place that sets them. But if we are looking at, if we pick one morality, you know, let me pick the issue of sex. From medieval times to Middle Ages to medieval times, all the way to our time.
Yes, sir.
Those days, the medieval times and the Middle Ages, those who were setting the standards were the monarchs and the church. If we are talking of Europe and America.
Okay.
If we talk of the Islamic world, it was the Ottoman Empire that was setting the standard.
Okay.
So before the intervention of liberal philosophy and secularism, approach to sex was that of purity. A woman will stay put without allowing any man to touch her, except that the husband who will marry her at the end of the day. That was what was happening even before the Second World War.
Yes, sir.
Even ordinary dress before the Second World War, women were wearing below the knee, and it was a taboo, unacceptable in society for a woman to expose her sensitive parts. But after the Second World War, during the Second World War, when the men went to war, women took over the running of society. And thereafter, they said, no, what every man can do, we can also do. Then standards began to fall because the authority that was there and was acting as a watch over the character and behavior of people was lost. Feudalism died. The Catholic Church, which is a master architect in terms of morality and supervision over morality and how people should conduct themselves in society, the church lost its control. And in the 18th century, when the French Revolution happened, It was the French Revolution that opened the doors that we are seeing today, because the French Revolution was anti-God. They said that the church had been dictating to us and had been conniving with the feudal laws to suppress us. Now we want our freedom. So during the French Revolution, some of the placards that they read anti-godliness. That from today we have nothing to do with God. And that led to what we know today to be the development of liberal philosophy. That I know my right, I have my freedom. So freedom, more or less, has become a new God that is being worshipped.
So, Doc, even before we talk about Europe, in our own villages, and you are a typical Akan, many people don't know this.
Some people think I'm in Somalia or Sudan.
Yes. If a girl got pregnant, she was banished from the village.
Absolutely.
So, how did we get here?
Let me tell you. You see, our scholars have not been fair to Mother Ghana. In every society, we have people I call the moral mind of the society. They give direction. So we came into contact with Western education, yes, which they call secular. I've never accepted that, because secular means ungodly. And is our education ungodly? No. But it has come to stay. Yes. It has become the social balance that we work with. You know, when the colonial masters introduced education, they introduced it with their culture and their way of life. So, for example, a girl is supposed to be exposed to sex education. That one is absolutely important, but to what extent? Okay. I know that in UK, by 14, the girl knows everything. She has been taught how to protect herself in case of sex. So, attitude towards sex became very liberal, which was more or less an antithesis of how our system was. I come from a village 8 kilometers away from Ejoso on the Accra Road. And my father used to tell me that in the past, if a girl got pregnant before marriage, she was sanctioned. Even if you touched a lady and the lady is not your wife, it's not your mother, it's not your sister, it's not your auntie, you would have to slaughter a sheep. And then we would have slaughtered so many sheep, because such physical contacts are normal today. So, one of the bad sides,
yes, sir,
which I think scholars have not helped us, is that as you interact with the outside world, you shouldn't lose your identity, because it is your culture that will determine who you are. But when we were at the receiving end of Western education, we ignored our culture. We did not take up the challenge of preserving the good part of our culture.
Yes, sir.
So more or less unwholesomely, we swallowed whatever came from the white man,
yes, sir,
to the detriment of some of the good traditions that we had.
Yes, sir.
Today, if you are marrying a lady in your own area, she might have had about 10 boyfriends. This is a disaster. The woman who is going to be yours, yes, other men have played with her 10 times.
Yes,
and then he's going to be your wife. So we should have had a way of filtering the external culture that was coming to us. We filter and take the good part and leave the bad part. The Japanese, they declared their educational revolution in 1960 after the Second World War, and they preserved their culture, a lot of it.
Yes, sir.
The Chinese have done it.
Yes, sir.
The Koreans have done it. The Malaysians have done it. They will take the technology, because every technology comes with a particular cultural system, you know.
Yes,
and I'm saying every technology comes with a particular culture.
Yes,
and an example is the internet.
Okay.
We did not invent the internet. It was a British who invented the internet. and then the Americans bought it. The internet is driven by liberal philosophy. Liberal philosophy means that everything goes.
Okay.
So you open the net for the first time. If you're a Muslim, for example, I'm a Muslim. A good Muslim will open the net trying to check his inbox, what messages are there. Then a lady will pop up on the screen, almost naked. The first time, the man will say, Subhanallah, what is this? It's not comfortable.
Yes, sir.
The second time, the intensity of rejection reduces. The third time, like the Hausa man will say, Azai, what are we going to do? Let's take it like that. So the resolve to even stay away from promiscuous sexual relationship, the resolve within the self dies with the passage of time.
Sheikh, you've made a very good point that as you are exposed to immoral stuff or material, your resolve to resist it over time is weakened.
Yeah.
As we speak, Ghana has had to contend with a foreign policy decision of legalizing homosexuality. Some people have tested the waters twice, and the resistance has been stiff. Do you think that over time, an act like homosexuality that is so repugnant to the Ghanaian moral mind will ever be accepted?
Continuously, on daily basis, I'll pray that God keeps Mother Ghana away from this evil act. Those who have legalized it, I feel pity for them because they hold the Bible, which they read in Genesis, where God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because of this act. But in the name of human rights, they are allowing it to go. So when you die and God asked you that I destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because of that ill act,
Yes, sir.
and you legalize it in your society, what answer have you got?
Okay.
So homosexuality, it is not even a subject I want to talk about, because I feel very bad when I'm talking about it. Why should every human being who thinks wisely, who thinks morally right,
Yes, sir.
should legalize relationship between man and man for sex? It's too bad. Ghana, I pray that no one makes the mistake of bringing it to this motherland. We will resist it with everything that God has given us.
Sheikh, the psyche and conscience of every society hinges around people you've called authorities, politicians who make decisions for us, chiefs who are traditional leaders, and then imams and pastors. I'll take you to the church first and the mosque. You are a scholar, a cleric of international repute. Do you think materialism has found its way into the church and the mosque?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We call it the commercialization of religion. You know, as I'm sitting here, I'm a Muslim. If you wish, call me a Muslim pastor. Yeah. You see, this work of propagating God's word,
Yes, sir.
should be driven by a high spirit of sacrifice.
Yes, sir.
If society decides to reward you for your effort, fine. But you don't do this work to amass wealth. It's a purely sacrificial job.
Yes, sir.
But what do we see today? We have people we call charlatans.
Yes, sir.
They are amassing wealth in the name of religion.
Yes, sir.
When you drive on the Kumasi-Accra highway, it was not there, but now it is there. You would hardly find a billboard or a poster of an imam saying that I have powers to do this or that. It's all about money. People go to prayer camps, all about money. Some of the pastors, the thing is so commercialized that you see billboards, huge ones. It's all about money.
And you don't see the scripture. You see people's pictures.
Their
Are we
names.
marketing the scripture or marketing rock stars,
Yes.
so to speak?
Yes. Yes, so that is the trend. And you know, let me tell you, materialism has crept into human life, and it started from a point. You know, after the invention of steam engine,
yes, sir.
After the invention of steam engine,
yes, sir.
You know, steam engine led to mass production of goods.
Okay, sir.
Mass production
yes,
of
sir.
goods.
Yes, sir.
And when goods were massively produced, the captains of society and captains of industry,
yes, sir,
had to whip up the taste of people for these goods. And that started in Europe, because the steam engine was invented by the British. Now, captains of industry put together a propaganda machine to tell people that even if I have this watch, there's a new brand, go for it. Even though each of them can perform the same service. So what happened, to cut a long story short,
yes, sir,
at the end of the day, was that the taste for new things got developed. Not only that, there also created the impression that amassing wealth will make you happy. So wealth became something like the index of success in life. So gradually, love for wealth, materialism, crept into our hearts and started changing. Today, Samsung will produce Samsung 3. When somebody buys the 3, he's waiting for 4. When he buys 4, waiting for 5.
yes, sir.
So continuously, human beings are becoming servants of materialism. And society, in the church and in the mosque, if you have wealth, you are on top. If you do not have, you are down there. In the past, it wasn't like that. In the past, it was moral standard that was setting who should be respected or not. But today, that is not the case.
So,
Just amass wealth, irrespective of the means through which you acquired it. People are not bothered about that. Once you are in the Land Cruiser, you are respected.
so, yeah, Sheikh, even the missionaries that brought Christianity, some pastors that came to Ejisu and other areas led very modest lives.
Yes, that's correct.
There are pastors who come out to say their perfumes cannot be gotten in Ghana. You have to go to Paris.
I'm hearing from you for the first time.
Yes. So, is society not itself giving men of God the impetus to want to be accepted and respected?
You know, you see, they projected themselves. And there are people who are respected. Let me tell you, I was telling somebody that when some of us, when we drive through Nima, when we drive through Nima, come and see how people approach us with respect.
Yes, sir.
The man of God, the Ghanaian society is godly.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
the Ghanaian society loves God. So it's more or less capitalization on the interest of people in God. So it was these pastors, it was not society that projected them. They projected themselves. And because they are respected and their words are taken with the passage of time, society accepted that these people should be in this mood. So society then turned around to provide the resources that will keep them in that stand. So personally, I think that it was not society that they made them so. They actually adopted that lifestyle and imposed it on society because they are respected.
Yeah, Sheikh. You know, very funny things are happening in terms of religion. People ask congregants to come to a sanctuary with their passports and that they have the capability to pray for them to get visas. Very spurious things are happening. What do you have to say about imams and pastors that dabble in partisan politics, prophesying who will become Ghana's next president or who will lose an election?
You've touched on two things. You are touching on passports and you are now touching on prophecies.
Yes, sir.
You see, the issue of passport, it's all about money making. I won't mention the name of an imam I went to him and I saw a long queue in his house. I said, do we have a clinic here? Not knowing people were going to him with their passports. People want to travel abroad. And of course, I would say with some level of certainty that he was collecting monies. And it's so prevalent in the churches. So this commercialization of religion, I think, is thriving on people's need for good life. It's just like somebody who is hungry. Any food you give the person will take it. It's a person in need. So society as a whole, the Ghanaian society, the African society, we are not satisfied. We are not working towards satisfying what will make us happy people in our own country.
Yes, sir.
The mentality in the society is that if you do not travel abroad, you can't make it in life.
Yes, sir.
I remember there was a gentleman who stayed in the house for 11 years after O-levels and with good grades because he was waiting to travel abroad. He came to my office as far back as 1995. And then I asked him, what have you been doing for the past 11 years? He said, Sheikh, I want to travel abroad. Yes. I said, let me tell you, young man, this is an act of stupidity. Make the best out of a worse situation. So wherever you are, work hard, find what you can do, yes, and work hard and sincerely, and God will give you openings. So please, when people go to these pastors and malams with their passports, they are making this world thrive because they are in need. And the malams and the pastors are just capitalizing on the need of the people. The second aspect has to do with the prophecy. You see, we shouldn't be liars. It is only God who knows who is going to win elections. And as a Muslim, we are not supposed to poke into what is hidden. Even if God, through dreams, reveals something to you, you are not supposed to share it with other people. Because that is the preserve of Allah, of the Almighty. So you keep it to yourself. But during the elections, you find some people, some pastors, okay, I think some malams, I don't know whether they are also involved.
Yeah, even they are so-called malams who also
they are also involved. Then they will prophesy, they will predict who will win. It's all about money.
Okay. Yeah, Sheikh, let's look at the role of politicians. In fact, those moral ideals of trustworthiness, honesty, underpinned their lives some 2 or 3 centuries ago. And Sheikh, would you say politics has made people more dishonest than our culture accepts?
Yes, you see, life in every cultural setting, there are certain moral values that I call universal. Wherever you go, they are there.
Yes, sir.
Honesty, sincerity, the two are not the same. Sincerity is honesty in action. Honesty belongs to the spoken word. And when you act on it, then you are sincere. Generosity,
yes, sir.
Kindness, and patience. These 5 moral values are universal. They are everywhere. And any individual who wants credibility in life, and credibility means society trusting the person, you need to be honest. When you act sincerely too, you will win credibility. When you are kind, you win credibility because you open human hearts with your kindness, then you enter. If you are patient, you win credibility. These moral values, as you rightly put it, should be the underlying principles that should drive our lives, including politicians. It is not the culture that we live in that has made them so. If they were to follow our cultural practices, they would have been better off than we have them today. As I'm sitting here,
yes, sir,
one of my humble prayers is that God touches the hearts of politicians because they are the drivers of society.
yes, sir.
Sometimes when I hear some of the stories which are yet to be substantiated or proved by anyone as being factual, I ask myself, when are we going to change? Because, for example, if you are an MP for your area, you represent about 500,000 people. If you misbehave, it affects that group of people. They look up to you as a role model, and you're supposed to set standard for them to follow. So, for example, if you state resources, and it's published, and it's known, what have you done to those constituents that are looking up to you for direction? So my thinking is that politics in Italy, people have to lead, but they have to lead with the spirit of service, not with the spirit of materialism.
That is quite a strong point. Sheikh, we will go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'll ask you, puritanical groups within the Christian faith, Jehovah's Witnesses, have poo-pooed the idea of engaging in politics. Some groups within Islam also say it is unholy, it is immoral. So when we come back, you answer the question, is it moral to engage in politics? Stick and stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Your back be the problem now. You know we come from far, we don't watch nobody. That's what it is, happy at the pump. Everything you want, me girl, if I buy one, you get one free. La 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 do, I give you my heart and soul.
Robos casca, if no be you, then tell me who.
Baby girl, I'll be selfish with you. Girl, I'll be selfish with you.
So girl, baby, take my number. Take my number.
Gaga, go go, gaga, go go. Low tempo, low tempo. My baby keep it on.
Jolly, me sweetie, sissy mude, boko, sissy mude, boko.
I go buy up for you. I go buy up for you.
Mpepi yana mitami bisamu saso. Enyima hoden eya soden ena nka wa mewiase a. Saikra no dasani abrabo betie. Enei so dasani bia abrabo be nam ayehwam na afei nso ayefefefe a. Wi enyima hoden free mu a enye yie. Omai bia mpuntuo fakese eni dwane ewiase edwane abefo nimdie nsemu nyina gina enyima hoden kroya so ne senti eni na ehun beyinya se ye kyerɛkyerɛ na ehu akwan pa ye de enyima hoden bedi dwuma ho enyima hoden ho asɛdeɛ na di so pepepe
hwɛ enyima hoden nkomo odi TV1 so ajuoda bia enumre no nwɔtwe de kosi no nkron ye besan asisu bie memenda bia awia donko kosi no mienu.
We are still in the studio with Sheikh Isaac Nyama, an author, a scholar, and a moralist. He served on the board of the Narcotics Control Board and during the time of Prof. Mills. I'll ask him about that as well. Sheikh, you're welcome back.
Thank you.
Sheikh, you were making a very good point before we went on break, but I chipped in by asking this question. Is it moral to engage in partisan politics the way it looks today?
Very interesting question. It is interesting because
manifestos that are promises in manifestos that are not satisfied.
That terrain needs some element of purification. Who are those who take up that challenge and campaign for the pure practice of politics? Politics devoid of lies, politics devoid of hypocrisy, politics devoid of amassing wealth. If you ask me as a moralist, and the terrain is like that, I won't go in there. It's very dirty. I know some individuals, they were very nice gentlemen. Went into politics. The next time I met them, I realized that they had cultivated the habit of telling lies. I knew them.
It's infectious.
Yes. It's infectious and contagious at the same time. If it is this politics that you are asking me, I'll say, I'm sorry. It's difficult for me to allow anyone to enter. So I'll propose two things.
Okay, sure.
One, we have to start the process. For example, if President Akufo-Addo, His Excellency, can do that for us, that would be massive. When he was inaugurated, I have a column in Mirror. I'm on break now for some time. I said that he's going to deal with 600,000 public servants. And the issue of discipline, and I got to know that when I worked with narcotics. I served on the board of Narcotics Control Board for 5 years, 3 months. That public servants go to work late. They leave office very early. They don't care what happens to state properties. If you want to run a country, you need to inject that discipline of love for one's state, one's nation, into the people. But you find some politicians coming on board, misbehaving, and the public servant is emboldened, because after all, the man is not setting a good example. So it is extremely important that we sanitize our political practices. Then I will encourage everybody to go in. But there should be a revolution in that area. So
Sheikh,
if the president can lead that for us, I'll be glad.
Sheikh, were you not having sleepless nights? Didn't you find yourself in a catch-22 situation when the former president, who is now late, Prof. Mills, called you to serve as an appointee on the Narcotics Control Board? And what was the observation you made during that time? And how did people who loved you for who you were, how did they view you? Did they view you as an NDC sympathizer? What was the reception
I
from
was
the
called
public?
upon as a servant of Mother Ghana. I don't belong to any party. I'm stating it very clearly here. The truth of the matter is this. In 2009, when His Excellency was sworn into office, one of the things he decided to do was that the name of Ghana was read. Some people used to call us, instead of Gold Coast, they used to call us Coke Coast. So he took it upon himself to form the board that was going to supervise the work of Narcotics Control Board. So he had 2 other individuals with him to do the selection. All boards are selected by ministers. Board members, they are selected by ministers. And then they go through due diligence and process. And they are sworn into office. But this particular board, that was the only board whose members were selected by the president himself. So he selected 15 from the security agencies. And the president said, I would like to bring on board 2 religious persons. And their role is to come and help change the face of NACOP's work. So I was invited. Valeria Sawyer called me and said, President is appointing you to serve on this board. I asked, Madam, I'm not a security man. That was my reaction. They said, oh, the president wants you to play a particular role. And I was made to take care of public education on the board. I was in charge of public education. I was given a vehicle and a little budget, monthly budget. And I went to over 150 FM stations. put aside Metro TV and other TV stations. Over 150 FM stations. And NACOP didn't pay a dime. Because I was a media person, public figure. The stations were ready to accept me to do deliveries. All that I needed to do was to pick a letter from NACOP, addressed to a radio station, then it will be sent there. A date will be fixed, then I'll move in there. So I went to all the 10 regions of Ghana. For 5 years, 3 months, I wasn't staying at home. Because, it's not easy for a president to tell you to come and do a job for your country. So you have to die for it. And I wanted to set a precedent as a Muslim. And alhamdulillah, I think that we worked to the best of our abilities. In fact, one observation I want you to know is that all the years before, NACOP has 3 or 4 major areas of operation: surveillance, rehabilitation, demand reduction, and supply reduction. These are the key areas. And surveillance had overshadowed the rest. And demand reduction and supply reduction, you need to do public education. And UNODC in 2010, United Nations on Drug and Crime, in 2010, had directed governments to utilize public education tool. I remember I went to Techimai, Classic FM. I finished the program at around 11. And then the phone in, there was a phone in segment. People phoned in. A young boy called me, 20 years of age. And he said, "Sheikh, tonight you have saved my life." Because my presentations were not irritating. I was more apologetic in my presentations. Because you're supposed to touch human hearts. Even the person working and as a baron in that bad business will sit up and think that if you do this work and you spoil people's characters, you spoil people's lives, at the end of the day you are going to be accountable to your Lord. And amass all the wealth in this world. Me, I'm not bothered. You are going to die. So this young man said, 20 years, he said, "Sheikh, you have saved my life tonight, because tomorrow I'm in the company of some friends who are into drugs. And they were going to baptize me tomorrow to start that bad habit."
Sheikh, we'll continue taking your experience from serving on the board of NACOP. But you can now join the discussion via WhatsApp. And the number to WhatsApp us to is 0552 225 911. And you can find that displayed on your screen. You can also call 0302 904 768. That is also displayed on your set. Sheikh, a plethora of messages, but I'll ask you this. Today is Friday. If by Monday you receive a call from the Jubilee House, you said the chief of staff at that time, the deputy, was the one who called you. If Honorable Frema called you on Monday to serve in a similar capacity in the government of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, would you say yes or no?
I would say yes, a big one. Service to Mogala Ghana, not to NPP.
And there is a caller on the line. Hello, your name and where you calling from?
Yes, my name is Idris. I'm calling from Russia, a suburb of Dansuma.
Please, Idris, you can make your point.
Yeah, I want to say salam alaikum to Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, in fact, Sheikh, we some of us have been under your tutelage unknowingly to you for so many years. I quite remembered when I was in the secondary school. In fact, I'm not digressing, but I just want to.
Yeah, keep it short and sweet, because we don't have all night.
So I would say that Allah continue to bless you.
Okay, thank you so.
Coming to the main issue.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, you can make your point, but keep it brief, my brother.
Okay. Coming to the main issue.
Yes, sir.
Sheikh, in your assertion, you said you are not a politician, but you were appointed by the late President Asamoah. And you also said you are a media man. please, for the love of Mother Ghana, for some time now we've not been hearing from you, we've not been seeing you on both radio or on television. Would you, in a candid opinion, use your own means to communicate, especially to the youth of this country, because we need you.
Okay, thank you so much, my brother. Your point is well made. We'll take other calls, but there is a message. This one says, "Good evening, Irbad. I have never gotten enough of Sheikh Ishaq Nyama. When will you visit Wa? We are missing you here in Wa. So when are you going to Wa?" And then this message also says, "Good evening, Irbad. You see, there comes a time when the youth have lost their morality totally, and the cause has been the system of education we run. I say no to homosexual marriage." Hello, your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Takrady.
From Tadi. Welcome to the show. Yeah, you can actually put off your TV set and we can still hear you, or lower the volume on your set.
I want to speak on local diaries.
Oh, please do.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, salam alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Sheikh, mpacho anka program no oyenda pa tama eye damo education no. Or matie watamale. Am that no otake ma hat pa.
No problem.
So take dam na mo wo nyanko fo mo so mo into we bia we na dunum no mo kasa ti obinum no mo binum so takira. This is education so after na ti share company anka ye no more. That mo find a way na government so to mo find it no. I know to me the make one want to attend continue the matter now ka go you for because this is dam tra mo na wa ba no. Or let's say you to know.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Your point is well made. This one says, "Good evening, Irbad. Please ask Sheikh what will be his response to a wife who is always naked in the room. Is that moral?"
Oh, Abba. You see, it is not. But on the other side of it, Muslim scholars speak against it. Because you see, the bad side of it is that too much of everything is bad. Some women even prefer to preserve their nakedness only for the bedroom. But a woman who is walking around in the hall, bedroom, every place in the house, even though you are with your husband, I wouldn't encourage it, because it will kill the man's interest in you with the passage of time.
This is not a romance program, so to speak, but from this question and the issue of morality, is it permitted for a lawfully wedded couple to watch explicit movies to heighten sexual?
Because you see, if you ask me this question,
it all boils down to morality.
Yes,
because some TV stations were actually showing some of those videos,
yes,
all with the reason that they want marriages
to succeed. The Prophet of Islam says that if you look at the private part of another person, the angels will curse you. So if you are husband and wife, as an Islamic scholar, it is illegal to watch those ex-folks.
Okay. Hello, your name and where you calling from?
Good evening, my name is Al-Hassan. I'm calling from Ashaiman.
From Ashaiman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Please, I want to ask a simple question. This TV is an Islamic TV channel?
No, it isn't. But we are discussing morality in the modern Ghanaian society, and religion plays an important role in that.
Okay, then that's what I want to know. Every day you are making this show or only today?
He's asking whether, Sheikh, you are making a pass, you are only passing through. Okay, we'll talk about that. Thank you so much, my brother, for your call. There is a message. Let me read this one, Sheikh. It says, this is from, somebody's watching from Cape Coast. He says he's enjoying you. Yeah, Sheikh, I wish we had 10 hours to discuss this, but unfortunately, we don't have that. You are launching 2 important books tomorrow. They are entitled My Reflections of Life. Is it a memoir? This is just one of them. Is it a memoir, or it is your participatory observation of this Ghanaian society that has lost its morality, so to speak, the issue of consumerism, materialism, or you are chronicling your life as a Ghanaian?
No. You see, if you're a scholar, you read, you swim in books, and you swim in life. So you read the theory, and then you try to practice what you have read through human interaction. In dealing with people is one of the most difficult things in life. You come through so many experiences. You come through so many challenges. So let me give you just one example. One of the chapters in that book, my reflections on life, I say, after every difficulty, there will be ease. So this is a motivational statement. It means that no problem is unsurmountable. Every problem that you have, if you work towards attainment of a solution towards that problem, it is achievable. But you need tenacity of spirit, tenacity of purpose. You need focus. You need determination. You need definition of the solution that you want to apply to the problem. At the end of the day, you will succeed. So these are some of the personal experiences in life. And at 62, going to 63, I used to share my personal thoughts with people. So it's not a chronicle, even though the chapter 1 deals with some aspects of my beginnings. The chapter 1.
Sheikh, do you care to share the most difficult moment in your life, especially when you were a young person? Today, people complete university and they are unemployed. So many challenges, face us in various facets of life. Can you share the most watershed moment in your life in terms of the challenges of life?
My primary education. The very day I was born, my father told my mother, I would like this boy to be a malam. Very day I was born. I was born on 25th December 1955.
On Christmas Day?
Christmas Day. So if I had been a Christian, I would have been called Akosibrunya, But I'm a Muslim. That is number one. Number two, at age 6, my father packed some few items of mine into a small portmanteau without even consulting my mother. My mother asked him, where are you taking this small boy to? He said, I'm taking him to Kumasi because they were the only Muslims in my hometown. And my father wanted me to be a malam, a Muslim scholar. So he was bringing me to Kumasi. My mother asked him, do you know anyone in Kumasi? He said, oh, half of the malams, they are there in Zongo. So I'm going to knock their doors. Anyone who agree to accept this boy, I'll drop him there. And then I was brought to Kumasi. Finally, I got landed into the hands of a great scholar, Sheikh Adam Muhammad Apiru, the father of my wife. And then he brought me up. So let me tell you, I'm saying primary. Class 1 and class 2, I never wore slippers, canvas, or shoe to school. I walked barefooted for 2 years. 2 years, I used my mother's cloth around my neck for 2 years. The whole primary education, my father didn't have a dime to take care of me. So he was moving me from one place to another. And he was determined to keep me in school. In elementary school from 1, today JSS 1, my father walked to the school straight to my teacher, who is now in Togo, Sheikh Abdul Jalil, and told the tutor that he had come to withdraw me from the school because I was suffering. He was unable to provide even books for me, good school uniform. Then the tutor said, Karamu, go and sell the few items you have in your room to take care of this boy. In future, he may be a great person.
Okay, thank you so much, Sheikh. Hello, your name and where you calling from? You could be our last caller.
Oh, okay. Good. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikum. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm Zainab calling from Tafadi.
Okay, Zainab from Tadi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Zainab, you can make your point.
Oh, okay.
And speak up a little bit.
Hello?
Yeah, speak up a little bit.
Oh, okay. I've missed this show. This is my first day of watching this channel.
Yeah, so we air.
I want to know when I'm.
Okay, we air yes, we air. Okay, we air 4 times a day, 4 times in a week. Yes, 4 times in a week from Tuesday to Friday, from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and there's a repeat in the morning. Sheikh, I'll ask you this, and I believe it's a very difficult question. For those who would want to have more of Sheikh, tomorrow he's launching 2 powerful books at the Teachers Hall here in Accra, and the time is 10 a.m. So do make it a point to attend this all-important event. Sheikh, you are 62. Maybe the additional 2 is bonus. Very soon you will leave us. Your colleagues had Shuaib and Sheikh
Shuaib is not my colleague, it's my father.
A senior. Sheikh Musa Abdul Qadir just passed on. There is a lurking issue that everybody is afraid to discuss. What happens the day after the demise of the National Chief Imam? Would you call for government's intervention in crafting a succession plan for the office of the National Chief Imam to forestall any instability because of contending interests in that seat?
I think that, you see, when you have a problem or you have an issue, you don't allow it to overgrow such that you can't handle it. I'll make a passionate appeal that the old man with his able lieutenants should start to think about a succession plan.
Is that all you can say?
No, I'm coming. Number 2, as Muslims, we should be seen to be doing our own things. Why should government come and appoint an imam for us? Honestly, it will be an indictment on all Muslims in the country. We have to put our house together. We are sitting idle as if we don't have thinkers. Personally, I think that, in fact, I've discussed this issue with a group of people living in Italy when I was in Italy last week. And their concern was that something will have to be done before the unexpected happens.
So who bites the bullet? Who takes the initiative?
The initiative, we will have to identify some individuals. I don't want to spill the beans here.
Please do, Sheikh, because if you don't spill the beans
No,
here,
the reason why I don't want to spill the beans is that if you have a strategy you're using to address an issue, you don't, before you even start, it is in the public domain. And it is not everybody who is happy for an arrangement to be in place. Why? Because of personal interest and greed. So I think that at the right time, something will have to be done. You know, it can take the form of talking to the old man to choose somebody to succeed him, or an arrangement that he thinks will help the Muslim Ummah.
Would it be acceptable to cast ballots to choose the next National Chief Imam?
That is going to Congress. I don't actually want us to go there because it will lead to fireworks and it will lead to...
But the Church of Pentecost just elected a new...
No, we need to learn from experience. The Muslim Ummah is not like the Christian community. They have been in this system operating for years. The standard is there. So we have to start from a point. So if the Chief Imam will appoint an able lieutenant for us to start with, while we think of and putting in place an appropriate structure to deal with the whole system. You want me to go to where I don't have to go?
Go there.
Well, I'm not going.
Sheikh, it's been so wonderful. We've been discussing morality in the modern Ghanaian society, and we've been privileged all this while in the past 1 hour to have this interaction with Sheikh Ishaq Nyama, an author, a scholar, and a moralist. Sheikh, thank you so much for making time. Till we come your way next Tuesday with another edition of Time with Irbad Ibrahim. Stay blessed and keep watching DTV1. Good night.